Hey everyone, it's Hydro Pump here. Today I have another deck profile for you guys. This time it's Dark Dragon Turbo. Feature stuff like Chaos Sorcerer, Dark Arm Dragon, and Dragon Turbo, which I think is really cool. Gives you more boss monsters to play. I promise I'll have different decks other than Dragon Turbo to show you guys. I just have to order some cards, and I'm gonna try to show as much of these in person, like the actual physical cards. I have to do like a couple weird deck ideas I have on Dueling Book, just deck profiles there. But yeah, I just have to order a couple extra cards for these crazy decks I have. Anyways, and then this is the mat I won from the Big Boy Gaming 2K tournament. This one features Prisma, and they try to do like different cards for each one. They had a 3v3 tournament as well, which featured the frog monsters, which I'll show off on another video. But yeah, these mats are super cool, and yeah, I like them a lot. The design's really nice, and you get like pins and cash prizes as well, and various things. Yeah, I think that's about it. I think this deck has like the dark version of this deck has merit, and just needs more testing and whatnot, so we'll but this is like the standard stuff right here that I'll go over first, and then we'll dive into the other things. So we got 3 Red Eyes Darkness Metal, 3 Blue Eyes, 3 White Stone, 3 Debris Dragon, 1 Quackmere Drago. This is like all the standard dragons you kind of need to play in any Dragon Turbo list. And then we got 1 Vortex Trooper. Don't really necessarily need to play this guy, but he's good. Just like level 3, works with the Debris Dragon for Black Rose play, Army Arm plays as well. He just like unbricks you a little bit. He's like just a 1-for-1, so it's a solid card. It's definitely like one of the more cuttable cards that you can cut. There's a couple things that we can fit in the list too. And then we got 1 Tragodia as well to round up just standard monsters. Can't really go wrong with Trag. Trag's always good. And it's actually pretty cool in this list. I can show off more in a little bit. Onto the spells, we got 3 Rejuve, 3 cards of Consonance, 3 Trade-in, 2 Magical Stone. Love this card. We got 1 Instant Fusion. I'll talk about why only 1 in a little bit. It was cut for another card, but yeah, this card's still really good. You want to play it if you can. And but yeah, I think this is like substitute for another card I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, 1's definitely good. And then we got the 1 Pot Avarice, the 1 Card Destruction, and the 1 Future Fusion. Again, if you open these two at any moment or draw into them, probably just gonna win. Get the Heavy Storm and Giant Tornado. Definitely want to play Heavy Storm. Giant Tornado is one of those other, like, maybe on the you get sideboard this card, but again, it's just kind of nice if you can find either or. You can just burn one. You can just burn a Heavy Storm really early, and then you saw the Giant Tornado. And then the last 3 cards are 3 Reckless Greeds here. Again, Reckless is pretty good, just like another win condition. If you find 2 of these, you just kind of win, or it gives you a little more gas to continue and whatnot. But yeah, that's it for the standard stuff. And the cards I added here, of course, we got 1 Dark Arm Dragon. Dark Arm Dragon's really cool in this deck. I mean, the other darks you have is Tragodia and 3 Red Med. We do play another couple other darks here, but it's a dragon. It's a level 7, so you can do Synchro level 8 plays with it. And so yeah, Dark Arm Dragon's really cool in this deck, and gives you like another boss monster. Clear Ice Dragon, just like another dark dragon you can play. It's level 8. It helps clear stuff like Halut, Honest, and whatnot. So it's like kind of just like a good generic dark monster to play, and it works with Trade-in as well. So that's something there. And we also play Chaos Sorcerer. Now Chaos Sorcerer probably isn't necessary, but it is pretty cool in this deck, and there's a couple like cool combination things you can play with the Chaos Sorcerer, and it's just like another monster you can just spit out and do things with. We play Allure of Darkness because we do play more dark monsters. We have a higher dark count, so it's just kind of like another trade-in kind of card. Of course, not discarding a dragon with it to work towards Rejuve, but you just dig into the deck more. And we play 1 DDR. This card doesn't have like a rarity bump at all for it, so it's kind of strange. This is like just all the prints for are common as far as I know. But yeah, this card's really cool in this deck. This is like the second Infusion spot, and I think it has like some cool synergies with this list because you know you have stuff like Allure, Chaos Sorcerer, Dad that all banish things. You have Red Eye's Darkness Metal, so if you have 2 Red Eyes, you can do effect, and then you can banish this one to summon this red med, and then DDR back another red med, and get its effect. So kind of just has natural synergy with Dragon Turbo already, so that's nice. And it says discard a card, so you can. It's kind of cute to work with Rejuve as well. Just so you can just discard a dragon with it, and to get that Rejuve count higher. That part's pretty niche, but like, yeah, you just have like a lot more removal, and on top of what your opponent has, like, they try to remove your stuff with like Bottomless, Deepers, and whatnot. Maybe Caius. And something cool with DDR is like you can be like a little more, I guess, reckless with your monsters. I mean, you can even banish Trag as well with Awfuler and get it back. But in particular, Quackmere Drago, sometimes you don't want to summon this guy into like a deep prison or Bottomless Trap Hole because you want to have him for like an OTK push, but now you can just DDR it back once you dig enough in your deck, so you can kind of just like, you know, be reckless with your Quackmere Drago, and you always have a way to get it back. So that's the 40 there. Again, we don't have Upstart. I guess like things you have to mostly cut is like Upstarts or Reckless Greeds, and like traditional Dragon Turbo. There's a few other things you can cut, but you know, space is so tight, and recently I haven't really felt like Upstart is totally necessary. But yeah. And there's some other cards you can play as well. We have Dark Horse here. Again, it's like another low weight dark monster dragon that you can play. Effect doesn't really do a whole lot. But something really cool with this deck is like you have Huge Fusion. And you can use, since you're playing the Chaos Sorcerer and the Dark Arm, you can use Huge Fusion to, like, if you open either of these, you can use Huge Fusion to like get the 3 darks, or you can dump like a light and a dark to summon Chaos Sorcerer like right off the bat. So it kind of makes Huge Fusion like extra potent in this deck, and you can get to like a lot quicker starts. Like you don't have to dig your whole deck to get like go debris, red med. You kind of just like pop these down like right away, which is really cool. So yeah, Dark Horse. It would just be like another dark dragon that you can dump off Huge Fusion, because these are like the only dark dragons you have, and then you have the Clear Vice as well, wherever it is. I think it's, I don't know, it's lost. But you have Clear Vice Dragon you can dump, so if you want to work towards, regularly if you want to dump like 3 darks, you would have to dump 2 red med and a Clear Vice Dragon to get Dad live in your hand, which, I mean, not the worst, you could still have 1 red med in deck, but if you had Dark Horse in your list, you can dump 1 red med, Dark Horse, and Clear Vice to get that. So yeah, that might be a consideration to play Dark Horse in the list, and this counts another dragon. It's a dark with Allure, and it's a low weight for trade-in, so that's pretty cool. Gore's obviously a really good dark monster. Again, you can try to fit it in, and you know, it's great in this deck. Just need to figure out if it's worth playing or not. Again, things that are worth kind of like the next chopping block cards are probably like Trunade and Vortex Trooper. So maybe you can play Gores in the list, just have an extra dark. And then if you're saying playing what was it, Dark Horse, if you were to like cut Reckless Greeds too, you can just play these 3. You can play Treacherous Horse and Gores, which might have merit, but again, Reckless Greed just seems pretty good, and this increases the consistency, so you have to, you know, test it out and see which one's worth having more. But Treacherous is pretty good too. It'll just be the only trap if you're not playing Reckless Greed in the list, in the main deck anyway. So, but this card's like always appreciated this card and liked it a lot. So yeah, those are just cards to consider. Yep. So I'll show the extra deck now. Now these are kind of like the standard cards as well for regular Dragon Turbo. So we got Army Arm, we got Cataster, we got Brionic, Iron Chain Dragon, we got the Black Rose Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Dark End Dragon. Yeah, it's pretty good. Just you can actually go into this with Whitestone and your Dark Arm Dragon, so you can kind of just clear the rest of the board and then make this if you want to. Trident Dragon, that's what the Iron Train Dragon is for, just to go into this guy. We got one Darkfire Dragon. You only really need one because we're playing one Infusion, so it will make a spot in the extra. But might even need a second one for just for one Infusion in case you go like Infusion, banish this, and then you can sometimes need a second one, but you don't really need it. And one 5-headed dragon, obviously. And things that are new. So you have Arcanite Magician. This works. You can fuse the Whitestone and Chaos Sorcerer for Arcanite Magician. So that's pretty cool. So you can just like, you can just kind of just, I mean, you pretty much have like 6 Whitestones as well because you have a Debris Dragon to get it back. So that's pretty good. So you can just kind of drop Chaos Sorcerer, banish a guy, and then just make this pop 2 cards, and then potentially you can synchro with this as well into like a level 8, which is pretty neat. I have to test it more and see if this is entirely worth it. A card that I think is probably more important is Ancient Sacred Wyvern. This is probably a little better than Dark Knight Magician because, you know, if you're going off with this deck, you probably like already have like Heavy Storm or Giant Trinity, so you can just clear all the back row, and then the monsters are easier to deal with too. But this is like another option. But Ancient Sacred Wyvern is like, it makes like killing your opponent so much easier. The reason this isn't like totally standard in a regular build is because like you would have to synchro with a Prime Material Dragon, which you have to get off red mid. Whereas Chaos Sorcerer, you can just special summon it on its own, so you can synchro a Whitestone and the Chaos Sorcerer into this guy. So you can go like red mid, get Draco back. Well, you would have to summon this first, but so you go Debris Dragon. Yeah, I'll show it. Not super complicated. Just have to get my cards here. Alrighty. So we got these. Oops, let's hit the camera. We got these 4 cards here. So you go Debris Dragon, get your Whitestone, and then you can drop your Chaos Sorcerer, and then you can banish your Debris Dragon, and then you could use Chaos Sorcerer effect to banish something, make this, and then this can get Drago. So that's like pretty much the OTK there, assuming you cleared your opponent's field. So yeah, Ancient Sacred Wyvern is pretty nice for that, just like easy kill lines. So I like that card a lot. We cover those. Colossal Fighter is pretty good just because you can get into it a little bit easier. Again, it'll be way easier to get into if you play Gores, but you do have the Dark Armed Dragon, and if you have Dark Armed Engrave, you can use Trigodia to copy Dark Armed Dragon as well as a level. So this could just be easier access into Colossal, and then you could do like the Arm Colossal Fighter OTK. A little bit easier in this list, so I think it's worth running. And some dark fusion targets that we got. Normally this would be like Dragoness or another level 3, but Flame Ghost here can add to the dark count for your Chaos Sorcerer or Dark Arm Dragon if you need to. So yeah, this is pretty, you know, solid. And the Reaper of the Nightmare replaces Elder Hero Mariner as just another target, dark target to fill your grave. So, and then we can just look at the ones that the extra monsters that I cut. So Yo Guardian, I was considering this, but I cut this for the Ancient Sacred Wyvern spot. Might be worth adding this back, but you know, the extra, it seems pretty tight. This, like, usually when you're making Goyo, you don't really want to. You'd rather make something like Brionic. But yeah, Goyo is still a pretty solid option as well. And then obviously the other fusion targets, and then Exploder Dragonwing. We didn't have Prime Material in the main deck for this list, but Prime Material Dragon is still really good. But if you're not playing Prime, you don't really need this guy in the extra deck. So not as much of a priority. You have other ways to get rid of monsters too, like Chaos Sorcerer or Dark Arm Dragon, so you can have like a lot more spot removal, which is pretty neat. So yeah, the main topics is just like Dark Arm, Chaos Sorcerer. Again, they let you get a lot more aggressive early on, and I think that's really good, and just like they're just generically really good monsters. Like they're like the best cards in the Vayu deck, so it's pretty cool that Dragon Turbo can play these cards as well at the good use, and they kind of just fit in pretty well. You just have to make sure like the deck's consistent enough to support these cards, which is pretty good. And again, this is only like 5 cards different from like a regular Dragon Turbo list. So it's not like a huge commitment to play these cards. You can even side out the dark stuff if you need to fit something in, which I like. But yeah, that's the list. I think it might potentially be better than regular Dragon Turbo, and I played this before in a tournament, like a Big Boy Gaming tournament, like a couple years ago, I think. Now, maybe like a year or two ago, and it was pretty good there. I managed to top that tournament. But yeah, it just needs more testing, and I think it has some good potential. So I just want to give you guys this deck profile. I didn't really show the side deck because this is gonna be like regular Dragon Turbo stuff, not too different. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the deck and your thoughts of it, and leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all in the next one.